America will soon be like China. I'll say it again. America will soon be like China. First and foremost, I want to say, Call Halayim La, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. What I said was all praise to our power, Yahweh, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, which God is not a name, it is a title. His true name is Yahweh, which means He is or He exists. Bahashim, meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai, being the true name of the Heavenly Father's only beloved begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls JC or Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahweh Shai, which means He is the deliverer. Bahashim, meaning in the name. Rachak Wadash, being the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim out here pushing His gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations being unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, Lord willing, fall upon all your houses. So, Brother Quanah Watt, come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through Spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Lord will, it is edifying, Lord will, it is straight to the point. All right, but it says right here, it says the mask is off. WEF's, or World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab declares China a role model, right? Right, and for those that don't know, this is Klaus Schwab, right? We're going to read a little bit on what he says, right? Because ultimately, everything that's going on in China, right? How they're basically shutting down the Crown Vic Royale, locking people up, keeping everything under wraps, right? Being super and extra strict, right? Having that social credit score and carbon footprint and everything, this, that, and the third, right? Controlling everything, right? Klaus Schwab is now saying that, China is a role model in which these other countries need to imply, right? Those same type of, restrictions, those same type of security measures, those same type of control, the rest of these countries basically need to follow suit, man. And that, again, that soon is going to hit America, right? That same type of attitude, that same type of restriction is going to hit America here soon, right? It says, according to Fox News, World Economic Forum founder and chair Klaus Schwab recently sat down for an interview with the Chinese state media outlet and proclaimed that China was a role model for other nations, right? See, it says Schwab, who's 84, made these comments during an interview at CGTN's Tianwai on the sidelines of last week's APEC CEO summit in Bangkok, Thailand, right? It says Schwab said he respects China's tremendous achievement at modernizing its economy over the last 40 years. And for those that don't know, just catching y'all up, right? China has already made, right, their CBDC, right? 260 million, Chinese have already basically are a part of that CBDC, right? That central bank digital currency, which theirs is the digital yuan, right? So they're already moving forward. They're already, they're already ahead, right? A lot of their society is already, electronic, right? Which we understand that China was already a huge electrical, updated, with their electronics and everything like that, right? They make a lot of this stuff that America has and that Americans do use. A lot of that stuff comes from China, right? So they already had it, they were already moving forward, right? So they were already there. So it was a great option or a great decision to have, the country who leads in electronics, right? As far as, their daily use, right? To use them to, implement a CBDC and see how their people ultimately react to it, right? So it was a, like you said, it's a role model, right? It's ultimately it's like the test before the actual, what is that? That final run, It says right here, it says, I think it's a role model for many countries. Schwab said before qualifying that he thinks each country should make its own decision about what system it wants to adapt, right? So he just said that, right, to ultimately, not sound like, okay, well, this is what you need to adapt, right? He just wanted to sound, okay, because, not everybody's going to be on the same page, right? It says, I think we should be very careful in imposing systems, but the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries, right? It says a role model, a country of zero freedom, low social mobility, social credit scores, and constant government surveillance. Who the heck, even among the revolutionary wokester crowd, is openly calling for a Chinese model for their own countries, right? It says China, in fact, is a giant prison, complete with slave labor, sweatshops, low wages, continuous lockdowns, and actual laogai or gulags. Challenge the government in any way and you'll be packed off to one for years upon years in no time. In the case of the, I don't know how to say that, Uyghurs, or how do you say that word? Says just being the wrong nationality is enough for such imprisonment or such punishment. And that's exactly what's going on, man. And he's, he also made a statement, not too long ago, you will have nothing and be happy, right? So this whole thing, right, is about control, right? So with China showing the most, the most, what is it? What is that word that I'm looking for? Right. So they're going real hard on their own people. Right. They're going real hard and trying to make sure that they have absolute and complete control of everything. And again, Klaus Schwab is seeing that and saying, you know what, that's a real good model in which we should implement. Right. Because everything is about control with Esau Edom, man. He ultimately he has set himself up to be God, man. And that's why he wants everything to be like this. This is why he wants this charagma, right, which is the RFID-C hip, right? He wants to be in control of everything. He wants to monitor, he wants to control, and he wants to be able to eliminate those that go past their means, right? Go past the limit that he has set up. Now let me grab this. And I have another article, right? This second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 4, it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? So this Esau's got this godlike complex, man. When in reality, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai had gave him limits, right? He gave him limits. Job 14:5, he have given him bounds that he cannot pass. Esau Edom is man, right? He is flesh. He is not God, right? So he doesn't have the ability to do the things that the Most High is able to do, right? But Esau is trying, right? He's trying to set himself up. He's trying to make and put himself in that position, right? To have the rest of the world look at him as if he's God, But ultimately, it's not working. It's lucky for my voice, man. But I got this, that's basically, y'all can go ahead and look at zerohedge.com and look this up. It was the first article that popped up. But I have another article right here from Blacklisted News, right? It says new Visa card features personal carbon emission tracker. Right now, the first time that we heard about this was Klaus Schwab has MasterCard, MasterCard and Klaus Schwab partnered up, with this credit card that literally tracks your carbon emission, right? And now it's gone further than that. Right now you got Visa, MasterCard, so on and so forth are now coming together as a conglomerate and now doing the same exact thing, right? So it just shows you, that ultimately all these different platforms, as far as financial platforms and, basically the whole world is on one accord, right? The whole world, all these countries, right, are all ultimately moving in one direction, right? Which is, again, Esau Edom being in control, Esau Edom staying in control, Esau Edom trying to establish his NWO, which is ultimately a dystopia, not a utopia in which he presents it to be, right? It says the monitoring of personal behavior by banks will take another step forward as Canadian credit union Vancity launches a new credit card technology to report users' carbon emissions, right? And I'm just gonna read, a little bit. I'm not gonna read a lot. There's a couple points in here that I wanted to make. Right. It says on October 19th, Vancity announced that it will be the first financial institution in Canada to offer its individual and business members a way to estimate the CO2 emissions that come from their purchases. Vancity said its carbon counter, which is attached to Visa credit cards, was developed by Ecologic, one of Europe's leading climate engagement technology companies, right? So ultimately, you got Klaus Schwab saying what? Hey, we need to, a lot of these countries need to ultimately implement something like what China has done, right? He's speaking to Europe, like the European countries, to ultimately start that, right? And we're reading in this article that the European countries are starting just that, right? The carbon emissions, right, which leads to a social credit score, right? And so on and so forth, right? So they're already moving in that direction, man. It says, I'll move around after this, right? It says this will be the first carbon counter program for Visa holders. MasterCard already provides a CO2 emissions tracking card, which is, again, that one that Klaus Schwab, ultimately came out with, right? It says developed with technology from Swedish company Economy. The Visa credit card technology developed by Ecolotic also provides education and behavioral nudging so that card users are not only informed about the CO2 emissions of their buying activities, but also told how to reduce them, right? So eventually, instead of saying, hey, here's a suggestion how you can reduce it, soon it's going to be, hey, if you don't do this, hey, well, you're going to be cut off, man. Because at the end of the day, there was video brothers have done videos on this, man. If you're not caught up to what's going on as far as the MO to the TB, right, and all the language that Esau Edom has been using, right, then you're ultimately, you're not paying attention, man, because Esau Edom has basically plainly said that with this MO to the TB being implemented, right, this RFID chip, right, being implemented, what's going to happen is they're going to have ability to shut you down, man. If you don't stop putting, because ultimately, what happens is you driving a car puts out CO2, right? You eating meat puts out CO2, right? This, that, and that. All these different activities produce carbon emissions, man. So if you eat too much meat, hey, well, guess what? They're gonna tell you, hey, you've bought enough meat for the month or for the year. You can't buy no more, right? Or you've drove around, too much for the year. You can't drive around anymore until next year. And let's say you're halfway through the year, right? Let's say your job is, 15, 20 miles away, right? 15, 20 miles away, and you need to be able to drive your car to get there. Let's say there is no bus stops where your job is at, right? So you're basically fucked, man. So they put you in a really bad situation. You know what I mean? It's not going to be, as they say, this nudging, right? It's going to be them telling you, hey, you're not going to be able to have this. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to spend that. What's going on, bro? This is how it is, man. This is what the society is moving towards, right? It says, I want to drop down because, again, this is, it goes all the way back to, China being that model, right? It says other tech, jumping down two paragraphs, right? It says other tech companies are joining in this quest. Michael Evans, president of Alibaba Group, a Chinese tech company, announced at the WEF World Economic Forum in 2021 that his company was developing an individual carbon footprint tracker that will monitor people's behavior in terms of where they are traveling, how they are traveling, what they are eating, and what they are consuming. So again, this, Klaus Schwab talking about China being that role model. This is what they want, right? They want to be able to control you. They want to be able to put you in your place, man, right? And if you don't comply with their system, or you don't comply with what they are telling you to do, right, or telling you to reduce, or telling you to stop, then you're ultimately going to be segregated from their society and or put to death, man. It's just as simple as that. This is the time that we are in, and there's just so much more in this article. Y'all can ultimately go and look it up, not too much more, but it still hits some really good points. This is on Blacklisted News. This is the title of the article. You can go ahead and type that in as well. But I'm just gonna hit a few precepts, man, and we'll get out of here. But I want to go to this, Revelation chapter 13, and we'll start at verse 15, right? It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause as many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right. So again, if you're not going to do and follow their their rules to the T, hey, what's going to happen, man? They're going to ultimately, again, push you out of the way, right? Segregate you, right? Sort of like a disciplinary type action, right? And eventually, if you continue on that path, they're just gonna take you out, man. They don't want people that are gonna, hinder their society, right? Esau wants everything done his way to the absolute T, right? This is exactly what the times or where Esau Edom is heading, right? We, 2 Corinthians 2:11. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, right? He's talking about climate control, Agenda 21, Agenda 2020 or 2030, this and the third, trying to get rid of homelessness and this and the third. No, what he wants to do is he wants to eliminate these people. not make them not homeless. No, he wants to eliminate them, man. He wants to eliminate everybody that is completely against his agenda, right? Completely against his society in which he's trying to establish, right? It says, should be killed, man. You go into that word, it goes in apoptono, which is, to separate by physical distance, right? Which we've seen, the Esau's, basically for his trial run with this, the Icky Vicky, man. People were literally separated, and he created a division between those that were Icky Vicky and those that weren't, right? And ultimately, those that were Icky Vicky were the ones that were completely with his society. He made it to where, hey, you people thought those that were not Icky Vicky were criminals, man. And this is how he's playing on your. It's like he's playing on your people's minds and emotions, man. He's truly the fucking devil, man. He's truly the fucking devil, right? But again, it's going to get worse than that, right? Again, that was just a trial run, right? Here soon, right? When Esau Edom comes down having great wrath, forcing this charagma, because that's exactly what he's going to do, right? Those that are against society are going to be killed. Like their life is going to be taken, man. This is Revelation 13 and verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, right? You go into that word causeth in Hebrew, it goes into make, right? To force, right? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a thing in their right hand or in their foreheads. And again, this is going into that charagma, which everything is leading to, right? The central bank digital currencies, right? He's making everything digital, right? So he can attach this thing to that system, so that way when you have it, what it's going to do is going to be attached to your car, it's going to be attached to your medical records, it's going to be attached to your banking, it's going to be attached to everything, right? Your wallet, right? Everything that your life, or that you have in your life that is electronic, right? The Alexa that's in your home, you know what I mean? All that stuff is going to be connected to it, man. So that way everything can be completely convenient, and they can track where you're at. Because there was at one point I was watching this video, I think it was like a year ago, talking about how I think it was, they had a Jake speaking on there, man, talking about how this thing, it's sort of like the chip that goes into your animal, right? But then turned around and said, except you can't track it. But if it's just like the chip that you put in your animal, you can track the one that's in your animal. You know what I mean? You can literally track where that dog is at, so that way you don't lose your animal. You know what I mean? So if it's either just like it or it's not like it at all. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's just like it. They're gonna be able to track you. They're gonna have all your information. Because when you put a tracker in your animal, what happens? You can go up, scan it, and say, okay, well, this is their owner, this is their address, this, that, and the third. It's just like it, man. Just like it. Except with this one, they're going to be able to, hey, who knows? It's speculation, man. They very well could put some type of fucking cyanide or poison in that fucking object, that if you go against their society and you try to do some shady shit, what's going to happen? They just press a button, that shit pops open, kills you, man, within seconds. We don't know. This, again, like, it's speculation at this point, but Esau wants to be able to have that type of control, Continuing on in verse 17, it says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the thing or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And again, this is the time that we're in, right? Habakkuk 2 and 3, right? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? We're in that time where Esau Edom is moving everything along to where cash is going to be absolutely obsolete, right? And you're going to need a RFID chip in order to be able to operate in this society, man. You know? Hey, well, guess what? Those that that have faith in Yahweh Shem Shai, hey, well, what's gonna happen, man? We're gonna deny this society, man. You know, we're gonna deny this society and you know, whatever they do, right? Because again, you know, in that time, you know, when Jacob's trouble comes, when they go to force this charagma, there are going to be some of us that are going to be hemmed up, right? There are going to be some of us, because we're against the society, that are going to be persecuted for their disobedience, you know, which in reality, we're being persecuted for our obedience to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, right? This time is coming, man. Hey, whether we be put to death, you know, or Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai raises up that standard, and we're going to remain faithful to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You know, this is what we got to, man. It's by our faith, right? Our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is what's going to get us out of here, man. You know, but I just wanted to, you know, touch on that real quick. You know what I mean? Everything's moving, man. You know, Esau making big ass jumps, man. Because over in Canada, you know what I mean, which is literally across the border, you know, they're starting to implement this. Hey, how much more? You know, America next, man. You know, they're already doing their little test pilot for a CBDC here. You know, how much more? You know, that being the next step, or that could be as soon as they could be testing that. You know, the carbon emissions, social credit score. They could be doing it all at the same time. And by the time it's done, you know what I mean, they have the results, they have their data. Now it's time to push it, right? It's the time that we're in, man. You need to get ready. Stay watching, man. You know, stay praying, right? Scriptures say to watch ye therefore and pray always, man. You know, this is the time we're in. So, you know, Lord will was edifying, Lord will was straight to the point, Lord will was informative. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shah Bashem Dash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the great millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim out here pushing this gospel of truth and its sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh Shem Shah. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. Till next time, I say shalom.